They loved on me, didn't even know me, and gave me tons of value, tons of advice. And when I came back, dude, I was like a kid that had just gotten back from like a birthday party. And I had to tell you about everything that happened.
People underestimate the amount of effort necessary to be successful.
A guy like me, I've got 6 kids. Life was kind of passing me by. And now I work from home. I can work literally anywhere. I work at your house. Sometimes we'll go on vacation and I can literally do my job anywhere in the world. And all I'm doing is talking to people. In general, in most high ticket sales, there's not like a tangible thing. You're not buying a TV. You're not buying a car. You're buying an outcome.
What would someone do as they're first getting into this? Like, what kind of books would you recommend?
Beyond your paycheck, it's surges of cash that you can use to grow your net worth and feed your investments.
Welcome back to the Surges of Income podcast. I've got a special guest with me today, Jerrad Smith, my partner in crime, my best friend. And he's not here because he's my friend. He's here because he's legit, he's badass, and he's chasing surges of income. And that's what we talk about here on this podcast. Just in case you're new to the show, let me introduce myself. My name's Chris Moore, and I chase what we call surges of income. How to make money in short spurts beyond and above your normal paycheck and what you make monthly. That can go directly towards feeding your net worth and your investments. So today we've got a special guest, like I said, Jerrad Smith. And Jerrad is in the world of high ticket sales. Among some other things, he's a business owner. He and I have a partnership where we have a couple businesses together. And we'll dive into that in detail. But Jerrad, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
For sure, man. So high ticket sales, let's explain what that is to begin with. And then let's kind of bridge the gap towards how it's different than any other type of sales position you've had in the past.
Yeah, man. High ticket sales is definitely what it sounds like. It's purchasing a particular product or service at a high valuation. Very different from, like, for example, buying a car, which is where the world that I came from. Cars are definitely a need. People need them every single day, especially if you're in a place like Chris and I, which is in Alabama. You need a car to pretty much go everywhere, unless you're in a place like New York, right? High ticket sales is definitely one of those things where it's usually a service that helps someone, or a service or a product that helps someone get to the next level, whether that be coaching, mentorship, or whatever. So yeah.
Fair enough. Well, today's world, think about COVID. 2020 struck, and we had something called the Great Resignation. And that's where millions of people literally across the world, and a lot of people right here in the US, quit their jobs to do something called the alternative job market, whether that was delivery drivers like Uber Eats and DoorDash, or even Uber drivers. You have people doing Instacart. You've got people trying to become online coaches and entrepreneurs and starting businesses and all kinds of things. And I think one of the things that really surged during this COVID and this Great Resignation is the idea of what we call high ticket sales and remote closing. So really, when we talk about high ticket sales, we own a company that recruits, manages, and trains these people across all the different companies inside of our portfolio, Jerrad. And that remote closer is cool because it lets people work from home, not have to commute and make big money selling high ticket items that pay good commissions, which is so cool that you were able to bridge the gap kind of during that same COVID period and come to work with us and get away from having to stand on your feet all day long and work in the car world, and be able to work from home, have a lot more flexibility. So for anybody out there who's wondering, like, should they try remote closing or high ticket sales? What are your thoughts on that? Who would be a good candidate and who wouldn't?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, obviously anyone that's got sales background, whether it's B2B or B2C, car sales, again, you go through a bunch of training, you go through a bunch of practice. With high ticket, the great thing is that it's built around your own schedule. Like, for example, coming from the car business, anyone that's been in the car business knows that it's at least 5 days a week. It's at least 12 hours a day. And more than likely, by the time you get home, your butt's handed to you.
And holidays, weekends, right?
Holidays, weekends, except for maybe like a 4th of July and Christmas, right? So, and it's either very labor intensive, or you're in a place where there's not a lot of business, so you're just walking around for 12 hours trying to figure out something to do. Whereas in high ticket, the companies that you're going to be working with, in most cases, leads are going to be generated for you, and each particular product is going to have what I learned, which what the only ever time I ever heard the term avatar was a movie. I had no idea what the hell an avatar was, right? But it's helping you understand what type of buyer actually would come into that platform that serves a purpose for their need. But for example, a guy like me, I've got 6 kids, life was kind of passing me by. And now I work from home. I can work literally anywhere. I work at your house. Sometimes we'll go on vacation, and I can literally do my job anywhere in the world. And all I'm doing is talking to people, helping them identify their goals and their dreams and what it would take in order to get there.
So let me brag on you for a minute, Jerrad. You were doing some number crunching earlier, because one of the things that's really cool about what we do is we also give our salespeople across our various organizations trophies, similar to like my 2X or my 2 Club Award here. We actually have these made custom, right? And you and I were doing an exercise earlier today where we're just tallying up everyone's total sales, cash collected, revenue from the different businesses to get these trophies ready to get ordered. And even in the short period of time that you've been working in sales, because you've also done some other stuff in our companies and leadership, you've put like $1.5 million on the board in a very short period of time, which is very impressive. And I imagine that doesn't even include event sales, but definitely pat yourself on the back there, man. That's huge. And I'm excited to order your trophy, although it's not going to be much of a surprise. But it's still good to do that, man. I'll tell you, I've been selling a long time. I know you've sold a long time. You were in promotional products, you were in windows and doors, you were in car sales, you were in all kinds of stuff. How is this different? How is this different? Is this harder, easier to do remote closing and high ticket sales?
Well, it's a lot different, in my opinion. With cars, again, people actually need them. It's something that people need every single day. Versus, like promotional products, it's B2B, definitely needed marketing, all those things. But where it really differs is in general, in most high ticket sales, there's not like a tangible thing. You're not buying a TV, you're not buying a car, you're buying an outcome, right? And most people you have to be that person that helps them get from where they have these thoughts and dreams of wanting to be an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, a business acquisitions, whatever it is they want to do, whether it's health or whatever. They have this idea of who they are in their mind, and they're looking for that thing that actually takes the idea and puts it into not necessarily a tangible asset, but a real life in-person experience. And so it's a little bit different, but at the same time, you're helping them see themselves in the result.
And it's such an interesting thing, because you and I coached and trained a lot of salespeople, onboarded them, watched them offboard as well. And I think sometimes people underestimate the amount of effort necessary to be successful. Like, to quote Uncle G, he talks about that all the time. And that was a big moment in my life when I read that inside the 10X Rule book. People underestimate the amount of effort necessary to be successful. And I also think it's interesting how, and I told you this when you first came into it, if you remember, but I said, selling high ticket, selling an emotional outcome, selling a product like this is very, very different than selling anything physical. When someone needs a new car, they get up and they drive to the dealership. They've probably done tons of research online. They've looked on Facebook Marketplace. They've looked at TrueCar, Car Gurus, and then they showed up at your lot that day. And chances are you can close them. They're here to buy a car. Not as many people are looking around. We have the internet. It's just like the MLS in real estate, compared to somebody who has to make a decision that's both logical as well as very emotional on whether they feel like they can do it. Right. So when you got into remote closing, what kind of books did you read that like got you in the right headspace, took you away from everything you've known in sales besides the skills and being able to talk to people? But what kind of books did you read to help you learn more about this type of skill? And I want to make this go full circle in a little bit. I want to talk about surges of income more. want to talk about how, as a remote closer, you have these events where you can make surges of income. And but tell me about that. Like, what would someone do as they're first getting into this? Like, what kind of books would you recommend? Who would you follow,
Man,
coach?
100%. I would read two books from Grant Cardone. Actually, three books from him: Sell or Be Sold, the 10X Rule, and Be Obsessed or Be Average. And all three of those are going to lead you to massive action plays, consistent. I mean, not necessarily word tracks, but being able to consistently be able to have a conversation with someone to help them see themselves in the result. But definitely those Wink and Grow Rich, which is something that you threw on me, which
Great book.
I did not know that it was a fable. I thought it was going to be more of like those. I was like, what the hell am I reading? But you read it a second time, it absolutely makes sense. Well, those are really like the cornerstones. I mean, obviously you can read books like The Way of the Wolf with Jordan Belfort. If you remove yourself from the movie and remove yourself from all the BS that happened on the outside, the straight line process is absolutely something that's key to follow, keeping people in a straight line, not letting them deviate from the real conversation. But those would be some of the books that I would definitely recommend for anyone that's looking at high ticket.
So interestingly enough, obviously I've read those books as well. And besides the straight line system that Jordan Belfort teaches, none of those books really teach anything at all. It's all mindset at the end of the day. Right. It's all about understanding how to have the grit to continue to go on. And I think that's so important. If people don't have an iron, like almost like the Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence that we know, right? They don't have that Iron Cowboy mindset where they just don't give up and they don't get discouraged and they are expecting to have a lot of no's before they get a yes. Like it can really take you out of the business because it's a grind, right? You talk on the phone again and again and again. And obviously as you do it more and more, you'll get better at it. But it seems like that's interesting that all those books that you pretty much just said were all about mindset. And how important is mindset in somebody who's doing remote closing?
It's big. I think anyone that comes in here thinking they're going to close 100% is out of their mind, realistically. And it's okay to have big, lofty goals, but it's also very important to be realistic, right? And so with that being said, I mean, even some of the best closers that we know, I mean, they're closing at 25, 30%. And that's, I mean, and they're still making really good money. And we're talking more money than doctors and lawyers are making, right? And they're only shooting at 20%. Just look at like a basketball player like Steph Curry. He's probably shooting threes at 30-something%, but yet everyone knows his name because he freaking drains them a lot of the time.
He's taking a lot of shots too, yeah.
Exactly, he is taking a lot of shots, and so you have to understand that it is 100% a numbers game, and you have to have the mental fortitude to understand that you're going to get punched in the mouth every single day from someone that says, yep, I'm super excited. I just need a couple of days to think about it. Call me back on Tuesday. Tuesday comes and you don't hear from them ever again. Right. And so you have to, obviously there's a game plan that you have to put in place, but things like objections are a little bit different, but they're all the same. Realistically, at the end of the day, the objections are the same, the needs are the same. It's closing that gap and providing tremendous value, making priority important in the conversation and calls to action. You can do those things, definitely close the closing gap, but your mindset, you showing up every single day and saying, okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to slay the day. I know that people are going to punch me in the mouth, but through all of that, I'm going to wiggle my way through, and I'm going to close some deals.
Yep. My buddy Clay, he told me that the gap between expectations and reality is called disappointment, right? That's actually a John C. Maxwell quote. And I think you nailed it. If someone comes into this type of position and they expect to close at 50%, good luck. It's not going to happen. You're probably closer to 10 to 15% as you get started, and then over time get closer to 30. But it's so interesting. If you look at these type of businesses, Jerrad, I mean, for you to take 100 calls, close 30 of them is cool. But how many leads does it take to get that 100 calls, right? That's where people don't quite understand. Like on my side, as a business growth guy, I work with online companies, coaching companies. We have a portfolio of these that we own. I know that for you to take 100 calls, I need 3,000 leads. Like it's a
Right.
lot. So the math has to work. And that's why high ticket's so cool, because when you sell high ticket, you can make good commissions, and you can also, the business makes enough money to feed that type of really 10x effort on the marketing side. So let's go a little bit of a different direction for a second. So let's talk about surges of income. For those of you who are watching, you know I'm fully obsessed with it. Surges of income is money coming in chunks outside of your normal monthly recurring income you make from whatever job or duty that you have or business that you own. And for a salesperson like yourself, you have the ability to make some surges when you go to events. So Jerrad's our top event closer inside of all of our companies. He leads the event sales teams, and Jerrad can make what, 8, 9, 12, 15, 16,000 bucks just from showing up for a day and a half at an event,
Right.
and just helping people get across the finish line. A lot of them are pre-sold. It's a lot easier than selling over the phone because we sell from the stage, right? So with that surge of income, I mean, that's the key here, is learning how to make money in chunks and spurts and surges above and beyond your normal paycheck, because that allows you to go out and put it into real estate. That allows you to pay off some debt. Or if you happen to have 6 children like Jerrad, allows you to pay for things in his kids' lives, because I bet you they come back to you again and again and again like this, don't they?
Yeah, they get really expensive, especially when the youngest one is 14 and the oldest one's 21. They get really expensive, right?
I get it, man.
And you know what was funny was at the end of my first year, you were calculating what I had done at the internal sales, and I was doing my taxes, and you said, how much money did you make last year? And I told you, like, there's no way. I said 100%. We had these events, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, where'd this extra 100 grand come from? We're like, oh, the events. I'm like, oh, I'm on stage. I'm not thinking about the sales numbers, right? So, but I think it's a beautiful thing. So let's talk about just some experiences you've had recently. I see that Elliot Army shirt on.
Yeah,
I know you're a part of Elliot's coaching program. You go to his events.
Mhm.
Like, you just went out to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
What happened there? And how did that change your mindset? Because I've noticed you show up different in life since you've been home. And I'm just curious. And I think all of our listeners would love to hear more about what you went through, because I think they can find it inspiring.
Yeah, man. I mean, so beforehand, you know, realistically, I came open-minded to the Elliot event. A lot of marketing that's out there for him, people, you know, most people are like, oh, he's the guy that says you have to have a 6-pack ab to work for me. And, you know, that turns folks off. Well, when I went, there was 500 people that were coming to this event. And he fills those rooms once a month with 500 people. Lowest ticket is like $1,000. Highest ticket's at least 10, which is freaking insane. But we had, so leading up to the event, I had signed up for VIP, went to a VIP dinner or a VIP like pool party, and got to meet everyone that was there. And these are people from all different walks of life, and they all had one thing in common. They were freaking jacked. Guys, gals, they were just in shape, but yet their attitudes were not what you would think. Like you know, they're a junkhead, you know, whatever. They're
Just the total like douchebag motif. Yeah.
Not
and that's what guys like us
person.
who are out of shape call guys who are in shape, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding.
And so no, when I got there, I mean, everyone was super welcoming. They were very like high energy, but also very attentive. And I'm like, whoa, this is completely different. And they're all talking business. They're all talking sales, and, you know, understanding each other's reasons for wanting to show up to this event. But then there was a 2-hour workout, which was brutal. It's 98 degrees at like 7 p.m. there, by the way, in Scottsdale, which is, and like, I just felt all of the moisture leaving my body as we're doing this workout. But everybody, I mean, it was 250 people that were there for a butt kicking workout. It was terrible. But every workout that we did had some type of team environment. Like, I had to carry a guy that was 270 pounds on my back that looked like the Hulk. Whoa. I mean, it was crazy. But, you know, the thing was, is you're around all these people and you're just so energized. Whereas if you were out there by yourself, it'd probably take you 2 hours just to do that whole thing, and you probably would give it a half-ass effort. but everyone was inspired. Everyone was happy. But then you talk about his team. Yes, everyone is in shape, but the attitude is so different. They're like, everyone is there to make sure that you're checked in, want to make sure that you got water, want to make sure that you're in the right place, any way that they can help. How can I best serve you was their attitude. And it was like almost like going to church when you have ushers. They're there to serve you in whatever way they possibly can. But then Andy showed up, and you may see him on a reel for 30 seconds screaming at somebody or getting a point across. That's not who the guy is. Super compassionate. He's always there with his wife. His kids were there in the room, and it was just, you could tell that the entire environment was different. And that's why, I was only there for 24 hours realistically around their people, and I came back more hyped, more energized, more motivation. But the other thing too is, as you know, that one of my issues personally was, I've had bouts with drinking and things like that. The moment that I got there, I didn't have a single bit of alcohol, and I haven't had any since. And in my mind, when we talked about mindset, I thought that, I'd probably have to do some rehab or do something like that. It was literally a mindset shift. And I haven't touched any since I've been back. And I've been back for 10 days. And I'm working out every single day, twice a day, and I'm eating better. And it all became because I was around a bunch of people. Then I saw that I didn't need alcohol to make me feel like that. I don't need to eat the shitty food that I was eating beforehand. I can literally do the same things I'm doing, but now I have a better attitude. I feel better. My skin's getting better. Like, I'm more energized. I'm not sleeping like crap at night. And it all came from one simple event where I was around like-minded people that loved on me, and they didn't even know me. They loved on me, didn't even know me, and gave me tons of value, tons of advice. And when I came back, dude, I was like a kid that had just gotten back from like a birthday party, and I had to tell you about everything that happened. And
Or summer camp. Yeah.
yeah. So it was awesome, man.
It's interesting. So I go back to some of the key principles of what I've done to become successful. And number one is I don't like the word obsessed, because I think it can have a negative connotation, but I do love the word fanatical. And if you've gone through, you've seen a lot of my training on stage. I did one called Do Hard Shit. I wear a shirt that says that. And it's not my phrase, but I stole it. I become fanatical. Like, I have a lot of business growth trophies behind me. I've got lots of tombstones from businesses that we've purchased behind me. I've got a lot more trophies beyond that. I have a whole wall of medals over there. I made it to the world championships in obstacle course racing. I made it to American Ninja Warrior. I got in Atlanta City finals. I did all these things because I became a fanatic. And it was interesting what I heard you say just now is that mindset shift of the moment where you had something that you wanted enough, and you had a new level of ambition, you had a new level of clarity, and you saw what you could be like if you put in the dedication. All of a sudden, everything else that could be a vice, it could be you've done in the past, it's almost like you don't desire it anymore. Right. It's like I've told you all the time, like, for those of you who are listening, I'm a pescatarian. I eat fish and plant-based foods only. I haven't craved meat yet. My entire world shifted that time when I decided to do that. And I haven't craved it again. And when I was training to do American Ninja Warrior, I was 220 pounds. I got down to 170 within a very short period of time. I couldn't even do a pull-up. 9 months later, I'm in the top 100 in the world. 9 months later, right? It's all about becoming a fanatic. And I think becoming a fanatic is when you wake up wanting it, thinking about it, needing it, as well as you're allowing that to be almost the compass for your life in the way you make decisions, right? Is this bringing me closer or further from my goal? As well as you're exchanging bad habits for good habits. I remember I was just like everybody else, Jerrad. I had 2 kids, still have 2 kids, obviously, but they were like 5 and 6 years old. I've been drinking IPAs. I started gaining weight during the first pregnancy and never stopped, right? And all of a sudden, like that, I had an 8-pack within about 7 months. And that's very hard to do, number one. But I did it because what was driving me and what I wanted for once was worth pursuing. And I think what you saw potentially when you were there is the life that you've been chasing but maybe going about it the wrong way. And I think you
Yeah.
saw the right way finally, and that's maybe what changed in your mind. And it's crazy, all those other things that you used to do constantly no longer even appealing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is, I mean, there was a lot of people there that were willing to share their stories. I mean, you got some folks that were doing some crazy things just to get to their next high, to get that next bump of whatever, and their entire life changed because they got around people that had also changed their life. They weren't, no one. It was a saint that I had spoken to. No one was a saint before they came to Andy Elliott's group, which was very interesting. There's a lot of terrible things that people had done, but all that got wiped away when they were willing to change their life, and now they're 100% on this path. But I got rid of things like, I used to play like, I love NCAA college football, and I was the guy that bought it so that, like, the second that it came out, that I could play it immediately, and I won like 3 national championships like in a night because I was obsessed. But the thing is, since I went, dude, I haven't even touched my Xbox. I'm not watching Netflix. I'm spending time, sharpening my knife so that I can be better at my craft. And it's the same amount of action. It's just I'm doing it in a different way. And I am a fanatic now when it comes to sales, when it comes to my fitness, when it comes to my health, because just my mindset shift. I was doing the same thing, but I was investing in something that had nothing to do with surges of income. It was self-gratification, but it was not financial gratification.
I think it's powerful because we talk about this in business acquisitions all the time. And Carl talks about how it takes the same amount of effort and energy to buy a $5 million company that's cash flowing like crazy as it does to buy a $500,000 cash flow or $500,000 revenue business where you're buying a job. It takes the exact same amount of effort and energy. And think about like the energy that you were putting out there and doing other things. You just simply rechanneled it towards a more appropriate route, and you're seeing unbelievable gains from it. So yeah, excited to keep watching you grow on that. Do you remember in Scottsdale where I opened the event at Creative Con? It was me and Carl and Pace Morby and Abraham. And we started out with the 4 stages of success. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about survival, comfortable, thriving, legacy driven. And I think it's very powerful. And I want to talk about that maybe just for a few minutes and kind of hear your thoughts on it. Right. Let's talk about comfortable for just a minute. I think comfortable is a very dangerous stage, right? And I'll bring up a visual aid here on the screen for us while we're talking too, just so people who are watching this on YouTube can see it. So let me share my screen here. But I think comfortable is the most dangerous stage, and I think this is a stage where I believe you've lived in for a long time, and I'm excited to watch you get into the next stage, which is thriving, right? So if we look at this right here, can you see this?
Yep.
Yeah. So looking at my screen here, survival, comfortable, thriving, and legacy driven, right? I think comfortable is where a lot of people are. And this is where you have disposable income. You've got money to do whatever you want. You feel like you're no longer having to be in survival mode. And that's where I think people start getting away from their best versions of themselves, right? Yeah. This is where you're not having to fight too hard for everything. You're starting to enjoy life a little bit more, a lot more Netflix, a lot more alcohol, a lot more, maybe even fluff around the midsection. And this is a stage where I think a lot of people lay and stay for maybe 15, 20, 30 years. Right. And the people who get out of this stage are the ones that really see the best versions of themselves, as well as I think the best version of yourself that you've ever seen is probably not in comfortable. It's probably in survival. The fact that you have to fight for something, the fact that you're more appreciative for what you have, the fact that you are always striving to have more because you haven't made it to the place where you want to make it in life yet. Right. So I think talking about a transformation like you're going through right now and going to that type of event and having that paradigm shift there and being able to ride that continuously, that's what's going to get you out of that most dangerous stage, which is comfortable. Right. And you've got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. I mean, to get to thriving. And when you get to thriving, it's amazing how your mindset is shifted so much where you're not worried about kind of protecting what you have or being able to do whatever you want, but instead you're doing things with much more purpose, and you're doing it in a way where almost effortlessly the bank account starts to grow because you're showing up so much more consistently each day, especially in a job like yours where you're doing remote closing and high ticket sales where performance pays. I think this is going to be a really powerful cycle for you over the
Yeah.
next several years.
Well, it's one of the things that we actually discussed at the at Andy's event was comfortable is equivalent to death to most people. And the reason being is, imagine if you were in survival mode and your back is against the wall, you'll do whatever it takes to survive. We all have that innate ability. We all have that in us. It's part of our DNA. And if you can remove the entire process of comfort and just stay in survival mode until you're thriving, completely bypass comfort, all of a
Huge.
sudden the life shifts. Life
Huge.
completely shifts. But most people get stuck in this comfort level because it is you, like, you can breathe, and the second you take a breath, you have just killed all your motivation.
That's exactly right. I think, but so in that same presentation I did, I said, take action and stop letting the fear of losing your comfort guide your decisions. I think when you start to have comfort, you start to want to protect comfort. That's your biggest your factor. That's like driving your focus rather than saying, how do I get to the next level? It's how do I protect what I've built? Right. How many people do you know? I know lots who say, man, I'm already further along in life than I ever thought I would be now. Like I don't know if I really want to try to push any harder. I'm finally comfortable. I felt like I was fighting my whole life, right? But what a dangerous thing to
Right.
say. You know, you and I talk about this a lot. Carl and I talk about this a lot. Think about if we're locked into a jar or a bottle and we look up and we see this ceiling, whether it's a paper ceiling, glass ceiling, or whatever it is. I mean, so many people are just waiting for someone to take the lid off their jar and be able to
Yeah.
see how they could do so much more than even what they're doing now. Like I had some young men with my buddy John in here, in my studio here. If you guys want to see it's a little dirty right now, but my whiteboard, my studio, they sit on the couch and we do business planning sessions, right? And we were talking about just taking it to the next level, ambition. What do you really want? Who are you fighting for? And it was amazing how sometimes people I talk to have never thought about it. I don't, it's the only thing I think about. Like, how have you never thought about it? Like, well, I've already reached way past wherever I thought I would. Like, I didn't know I was capable of more, but I'll tell you, anyone listening, you are capable of so much more than you're doing right now. I don't care how good you are. Like, no matter how many trophies I get, my mantra is what, Jerrad? I'm just getting started. Like, we're just getting started. I don't even know what I'm capable of yet. And I think that's one of the most, my favorite thing about life. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we got off topic a little bit, Mr. Jerrad. We were talking about, I like that though. We're just riffing. So talk about high ticket closing, remote closing, high ticket sales a little bit. We talked about surges of income and having the ability to take that same skill set.
Uh-oh. Lost you, Chris. Oh no. My boy froze.
There you go. You there?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's still recording. I don't know what's going on. So we'll just have to, let's just go ahead and end it now. But yeah, weird. My internet went out. So I'll have that team edit it out. Okay, you ready to close it out?
Yeah, man.
Well, Jerrad, hey, thanks so much for being here with me today, talking about high ticket closing, remote closing positions, kind of what that looks like. And as well as I think we got to talk about life a little bit. And I think that's what's so important is we need to remember that we are human. We have ambitions, and I love hearing about your story and how you're kind of turning your whole life around, having that paradigm shift and how powerful that is. And I'm excited to see how that plays out and also helps you make more money and more surges of income. So any last words for this week's podcast?
Yeah, man, I would just say that anyone that's interested in doing this, obviously, do your research, especially on the products that you're looking to be a part of. But understand too that Chris, when you were saying you're just getting started, being at that level of just getting started, I think if you ask most people where their skill set's at and what like where they're at in a particular thing that they're doing, if someone were to say I'm at a 7, I'm an 8 at a 9, my question would be, so you're almost done. And if anyone's like, well, no, then realistically you're at a 2, right? It means that you're not done learning, you're not done absorbing resources and education and content that are going to help you get to these next levels. I would always be at a state of 2, so that there's always an abundance of learning in front of you. And also, lastly, be around people that you want to be like. Be around people you want to be like. Follow what they've done that's led them to success. And it's okay to replicate it. You don't have to go out and forge your own path. You can probably forge your own path on something they've already done and improved it. But if it's already working, just follow them. It's easier to do that than to come up with it your own way. And I mean, I know that went a little off topic, but
it's good.
High ticket sales is absolutely something that can change your life. It can make you money that none of these, Amazon shops or whatever you want to do. If you want to make $10,000 a month, high ticket sales can do that for you. Just find the right offer, find the right group of people, get trained, continuously learn, cultivate your sales process. And at the end of the day, just find out what people want. What's stopping them from going from good to great, and show them how they can get there. And that's it.
Huge, man. Yeah, hang out with the people you want to be in 10 years. It's definitely served me well. Some of the best advice I've ever gotten. And then also remember, you sell something that's expensive, you get good commissions from it. It's that simple, right?
Right.
Yeah, like you worked at Porsche and you also probably worked at Ford. I mean, you can get big commissions from selling big things. I was a real estate agent, sold tons and tons of houses. I love the 3% commissions. I think it's just about getting into bigger playgrounds, getting into the opportunity to sell something larger, as well as sell something larger that also has volume. And I think that's the key where high ticket sales can really be fun. There's people who get into business development and selling very expensive things. And they only have 4 sales per year, right? But this is one where you can sell 5 to 6 sales, 7 sales a week and still get paid good money. So yeah, wonderful. Well, thanks for being on here with us. We'll see you next time on the Surges of Income podcast. And remember, surges of income can happen to you. I mean, it's really made from 4 different ways. Number 1, the sale of a real estate property. Number 2, sale of a business. Number 3, large events. And then lastly, launches. And those are the 4 things that we focus on inside of my portfolio, is how to make surges of income. We have surges that come in some of our businesses that literally double our total profit for the year from 1 day's work. And this is something that's very obtainable for you in your life. If you want to have a high net worth and you want to be able to put money into investments and really grow your net worth consistently, you've got to chase surges of income, because your normal income will never get you there. Till next time, this is Chris. I got Jerrad with me, and we'll see you then.